Yeah, hey everybody, welcome back to A Tiny Revolution. This is our brand new publishing platform for anyone who wants to make an oversized impact through tiny products, tiny courses, tiny communities, tiny movements, really anything that you can imagine that is meaningful to you that will have a lasting legacy on your life, your business, and hopefully, if we're lucky, on the world. So I want to share one of the things that I'm really actually excited about sharing in this short 30-day April cohort are a number of templates and heuristics and simple shortcuts, I guess I would call them, for creating content that is compelling, that's interesting, and that actually solves a problem for your ideal audience or your quintessential client. So, there's all sorts of content marketing advice online about how to do this and how to do that. But I think the most salient or the most relevant for me is the stuff that I have written that solves a problem by or through using education marketing. And that style approach has really been the stuff that's kind of been the most resonant with my own audience. And that's ultimately led to the most rewarding experiences, both financially and from a relationship standpoint with those who've entered my orbit. So I'm going to share a bunch of these different templates. This one here, I created, I don't know, it's got to be 7 or 8 years ago at this point. Obviously, I'm recording this in 2022. It's the 1st of April. But this I called Launch It With Less. It's a really significant piece of what we're doing with our own new book brand, which is called A Tiny Book About. And this is a new series of books that we're writing ostensibly for children, teens, and adults who are dealing with various mental health challenges, sort of in the inspirational, mindfulness, meditative, and, uplifting genre, so to speak. So this is the template. You actually have access to this right now if you are reading this in our community. And here are the steps. Number one is introduction. And this is essentially where, and you can see all this in the PDF, about me, about this book, what we're going to learn. And I actually have a parenthetical begin with the win. So you actually want to future pace people to the sort of the win, the victory, what's in it for them, the transformation that they should expect by, again, virtue of taking your course or reading your blog post, or if I'm lucky and you're interested in writing a book, writing a book, right? So, or reading your book. So intro is the first step, about me, about this book, what we're going to learn, and then begin with the win. Number 2 is core concept, the problem, the pain, and why solving it matters. I can't stop coughing on these audios, which is really a bad look during a pandemic. But, there you have it. All right. So, core concept again, the problem, the pain, and why solving it matters. So essentially, this is where you just articulate something that the reader or the student or the subscriber already kind of understands, right? They understand what it is that they're struggling with and why solving it would be a helpful thing. Number 3, a single exercise or technique. And as you'll see in the comment section there, I have this is the thing, and in capital letters, the, THE. This is the thing, right? So this is where you actually get really, really clear about what it is that you are creating in the service of simplicity and being succinct and quick and not sort of droning on like I'm probably doing here, right? So you want to actually winnow it down to one simple exercise, one simple technique that you're teaching or that you're sharing or that you are contributing to the conversation around this particular challenge, right? And, I always when I used to talk about this more often years ago, what I would hearken it back to, where I'd kind of sort of reverse engineer this to, was I remember hearing Thich Nhat Hanh speak years and years ago. And essentially what he said a lot of things and Thich Nhat Hanh he recently passed away. He was a Vietnamese monk who really a tremendously impressive human being. But nonetheless, in his entire talk, the thing that came away from the entire experience for me was breathing in, I calm body and mind. Breathing out, I smile, right? So that sounds a little bit chintzy or cheesy to say here, but that was really the single technique, the exercise that I stepped away from that experience with, that was sort of, it began a new sort of journey and experience for me dealing with my own sort of mental health challenges or anxiety or anger issues, or, it started me on a new path of being interested in exploring a new way of being in the world, right? So if you can capture one single exercise or technique that has a transformative effect on your audience, you have done very, very well for yourself and for the world. All right, and the next couple steps, number 4, challenges Q&A. This is a really great way of addressing common questions and obstacles that folks may have in applying the single exercise or technique, and it gives you an opportunity to expand a bit on the central ideas above in a very easy and helpful way, right? Answering questions that people have, and even creating your own questions for the purpose of sharing a little bit more depth, detail, and dimension is a very effective strategy that your readers will find helpful, your students, your subscribers will find helpful, and you will also find easy to create, all right? So simplicity for all. Step number 5, homework and what I call a small ask, which is ask people to make micro commitments and experiential assignments that will help them actually clarify and concretize the exercise or the core concept that you shared above, right? Or the technique that you shared above. So in the example that I just gave, in something meditative, you might ask people to make these micro commitments, like once a day for 10 seconds, take a certain amount of breaths, maybe 3 breaths, and do it in the following way. Or do the exercise that I just mentioned. Breathing in, I calm body and mind. Breathing out, I smile. Maybe that's what Thich Nhat Hanh would have shared had he been interested in kind of concretizing that process in that talk, or using this sort of heuristic, right? I got it on my own because it was that powerful for me, but this is a great way of giving your audience homework, right? And people actually respond well to this sort of accountability because it gives them the experiment to run in their own lives over and over again, making these micro commitments that actually reinforce positive habits. All right, and number 6, I call the big ask, and this is off of the mat and into the world, using like a yoga sort of jargon. Like you want to take this idea, this core concept, this exercise, this technique into the world in a profound and powerful way. You want to actually use this technique to change your life and to change the world around you. So in a marketing kind of thing, or in a business or entrepreneurial niche, I might ask those of you who are writing a book to actually get it done, right? Do all these little things that you're doing, but in the end, publish the thing, get it out there, and actually change the world with your work, right? Alone, we can change a neighborhood. Together, we can change the world. That's the big ask, is actually publishing your work, getting your ideas out in the world, taking real action, making real headway and progress, and not sort of dilly-dallying anymore in this sort of sea of kind of stalling or stagnation or procrastination, all that stuff, right? So the big ask is just how you end the book or the course or the blog post or the content or whatever it is that you're teaching to elevate people into action that animates them in a positive direction in the world using your tool or your technique. Okie doke. Hope that makes a lot of sense. We're going to be covering lots of these little heuristics and templates, and I'm going to be using these in my own brand and business in April, and then documenting that with some live examples so that those of you who want to see how this actually looks or lands in a life or a business can actually see products that are created using this style of strategy. Again, if you're listening to this in our private community, I really ask that you make a commitment to make a change in your life if you are not where you want to be with respect to creating products or content or courses or communities that make a meaningful difference in your life as an entrepreneur and in the wider world around us all, right? So make a commitment to actually follow through and do something. I'm going to be sharing much of this stuff in April for 30 days. And then I don't know how much beyond this month I'm going to be publishing this sort of content for our community. So if you're interested in really doing something great, start today. Make a commitment, choose something, get motivated, get some momentum, and you will be amazed at how much of a difference you can make in your brand, in your business, and in your life in the next 30 days. Teach what you know, do what you love, wake up the world with your work. Thank you, as always, so much for listening, and have a wonderful evening. Thanks.